Hi everybody, Jillian here. Welcome back to my channel for a new Bible journaling video. Today, however, I will not be working in my Bible. I'm going to be working in my Beloved Society Traveler's Notebook. So this is just a plain white traveler's notebook that I picked up from Michael's a few months ago. I covered it in this pattern paper from Pink Paisley, and as the new Beloved Society releases come out, I've just been putting the devotional in the first 2 pages of the book, and then I follow it up with an entry using all of the cut-aparts. So the last entry I did on the channel was for the second release, I think, and now I'm ready to go ahead and do the next one. So this is talking about sending the light. So I picked my favorite pieces from the cut-aparts, and this is what I've whittled it down to that I think I'll use. And then I've also pulled a bunch of different color paints in similar colors to all of the cut-aparts. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and get started working outside of the margins in these 2 pages.
The first thing I'm going to do is figure out the rest of my supplies. So I looked at the colors for a bit, and then I went ahead and pulled the supplies out that I knew I wanted to use: stamps, ink, pens, things like that. And then I'm going to go look at the colors that are in the cut-aparts, and I'm going to pull the paint colors just kind of that match them or that complement them. So this is basically what I do. I pull a few colors and then see what looks best together, add things, remove things until I get a color palette that I like. I'm going to use my Bible mat underneath this page to make sure that I don't get paint underneath this page. And you'll see right here I got a ton of paint on the back side somehow. I don't even know how that happened. But I just wiped it off with a baby wipe, and then that will be covered by the next entry. So really quickly, what I'm doing here is just putting color down. I have about 4 or 5 colors that I'm going to use. I'm using the paint card technique, but instead of overlapping the paint, I'm really just trying to put it on without blending any of the color. And I'm doing it in 3 spots to kind of move your eye around the page. Next, I'm going to take this hymnal girl and I'm going to fussy cut her out. It's something that I've seen people do a lot, and I really like the look of it. So I'm going to just quickly cut her out. I don't typically go for the girl that looks like me. In this case, I don't have long black hair, but my hair usually has piled on top of my head during the day. So that's pretty much the only resemblance that we have. And the pale skin, maybe. I just think that all of these illustrations are so beautiful, so I like to keep a pretty diverse, mix of girls in the notebook. I pretty quickly decided that I wanted to keep her down in the bottom left, and if you've watched my last video where I showed you an entry in this notebook, I stamped out a song lyric on the left side of the page. The very first time I hand wrote the lyrics to In the Garden, and then I stamped out last time another song lyric, and I'm doing the same here with an older Audio Adrenaline song. I think it's called Hands and Feet, and I'm basically just stamping the chorus here that says, I want to be your hands, I want to be your feet. I'm using the Tall Alpha from Valerie Wiener's site. I'm going to go ahead and link that below if you guys are interested in that or any stamps that she has in her shop. Once that's done, I'm going to start pulling the paper pieces out just to see what I want to use. I'm pretty indecisive about this, and I edited a lot out. So for instance, I put this piece here in the top left, and that's going to eventually change. Next, I'm going ahead and getting my journaling down. I like to draw these lines and then write on them so that I have a pretty straight line that I'm journaling. And I'm continuing the song lyric over on the right of the page. So it says, I'll go where you send me. This devotional was talking all about being the light and sending the light. And I've kind of been asking God in what ways I specifically I can shine a light for him, or what can I be doing? Who can I be ministering to? And really the answer I think I'm getting is to be that for my son. So I'm journaling here, I'll go where you send me, even if it's just being a mother to my son, a godly influence with my son, and, reading the Bible to him and sharing Jesus with him. Just, no big deal, mothering. Have, in my case, just this one little pair of eyes watching me all the time. So I really need to be walking the talk, because this kid is a sponge, and he gets to see me behind closed doors and how I act in private. And so that is a huge responsibility that I'm realizing is enough right now to occupy me and my focus. But I feel like that's the answer that I'm getting, is just focus on him right now. I don't necessarily need to be a missionary to a third world country right now. Like, I don't feel like that's where I'm being called. So I just wanted to document that in this journal. And then I figured out that I wanted to put that radiate his light or radiate his love tab up at the top right. And then it moves around a little bit, but that's where it ends up. I used the heart that says Matthew 28:19 just to kind of break up the journaling over there, and then I drew some extra lines. And then I cut apart the phrase that says, let's make disciples, because it wasn't working for me in its original form. So I cut it into 3 parts because I like to do things in odd numbers. And then I'm going to glue that down on top of the paint, just kind of askew a little bit so it's a little more interesting. And then I'm going to go ahead and outline that in black pen because it's getting lost on all of the paint colors down there. These journaling pens write really well on paint, but unfortunately mine is drying out, so I need to get another one. Typically it flows a lot better. So what I'm doing here is I kind of ran out of my voice that I wanted to write on the page, so I'm actually looking at my Bible here to see what Matthew 28:19 says, and then I'm going to copy it in the journal so that I don't have to flip to it. It's just automatically there. And you can see I switched to a Recollections brand journaling pen because mine was just so dry and wasn't connecting with the paper. Next, I'm going to take these element stamps and I'm going to add a little more interest on the page by stamping around, and I'm using the Illustrated Faith black ink that I got in one of the devotional kits. So same thing with the stamp, I'm going to go ahead and stamp it around in a few places on the page just to kind of move your eye around. And I like to stamp off of the page. I like that look more than just like stamping it smack dab in the middle. So the Bible mat is great for that. Now the ink, especially when you use StazOn, doesn't come off the mat as easily, but if you wanted to get it off, you could use mineral spirits or something like that to get it off. And that's pretty much it. Here's a look at my final entry along with a few close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching and allowing me to share these kinds of projects. Be sure to tune in next Wednesday for a new Bible journaling process video, and I'll see you then.